All right, and we are back in business. I was gonna talk a little bit more as I was pumping gas, but this older gentleman and uh, about a middle-aged woman, I would say, was kind of at the pump, and it was this little small gas station. So we were all kind of like in close proximity to each other. So I really didn't want to interfere with what they had going on and stuff like that. It's one reason I'm kind of doing the car vlog, because I do drive a lot, and I do mean a lot. Um, I know I mentioned about doing the travel nursing, and I am also doing, the family nurse practitioner. I have my wife. We have 4 kids total. Me and her have 2. I have 2 from my first marriage, which I mentioned in the very first video. So a lot going on there, but also I am actually a licensed real estate agent and a realtor here in Georgia. Right now, because of second, got a giant pothole here. It's the only bad thing about these small towns here in Georgia. They don't really have a lot of money to fix the roads a lot of times. But I am a licensed realtor for the state of Georgia. So, I mean, I can help people buy and sell houses all throughout the state of Georgia with my license. Admittedly, I am cutting back on that quite a bit while doing this family nurse practitioner, because the nursing is definitely what pays my bills, and the realtor stuff, I actually got my realtor license selfishly in the beginning to just learn more about real estate, because I wanted to get into real estate investing, which I'll probably do a couple videos on those kind of topics too, because I do have a passion for real estate investing. My personal home right now is technically the only property I have, but even that has been a pretty good flip once we decide to sell and move, which may be coming in the next year and a half, 2 years out maybe. We have talked about, after I finish the family nurse practitioner with South College, sit for my boards, get my license, we have talked about, me and the wife, have talked about selling our home where we're living now. Not really wanting to disclose where exactly I live, but I'm sure people can figure that out. Or, I did mention which county, so you kind of can figure stuff out pretty easily on the internet and social media and everything. But I don't want to just throw it out there for people, because some people out there in the World Wide Web are weirdos, and even though I'm not YouTube famous or anything, they're still just weirdos out there. But we're talking about selling our house. We initially bought our house for $125,000. We put about I don't know the exact number, but we'll say $50,000 in renovations. So with that, about $175,000 all in on the house. And if we were to finish up some of the small little projects we got from Hurricane Helene that hit our area, we still got a few little things that were just eyesores around the house, like finishing up fencing the yard from where the hurricane broke our fence, stuff like that we just wasn't high up on the priority list. And we had a contractor who basically we had paid 50% up front for them to do a bunch of work for us, and contractors were hard and few between. He was actually a local contractor too, so it wasn't like I was going out of state, which I never recommend for people. But all the contractors were in high demand. I found this one. Admittedly, I'd even went to school with him for a little bit back in like middle school, like way back in the day. So I kind of somewhat knew him. Not really, because I hadn't talked to him or anything in years. But I kind of knew he existed, so to speak, and he was a contractor. So I hired him on to do some work. Paid him 50% up front and 50% when the work was done, because, that's kind of what was going on at the time. Granted, now I will never do that again. I'll just pay by the scope of work that's completed, and that's it. I will never do anything up front again. That was a huge loss. But it was about $10,000 worth of work. Basically redoing some ceilings, redoing my fence, and just some little bitty small things. Those were the two major ones, really. And he scraped my ceilings, like scraped it from where we had some leaks, and it had messed up the ceilings with the paint and drywall and all that stuff. So he had guys, they scraped the ceilings. Admittedly, when they scraped the ceilings, they nicked it, cut it all up, and I'm like, hey, what the heck? It looks worse than when you started. At first it was like a little water stain. Now I got all these nicks and cuts in the ceiling. And then from there, it just became, they weren't showing up, all these things. And, long story short, it was excuse after excuse. And then eventually I got ceilings that look like crap right now from this contractor. And he didn't even do the fencing or any of that stuff. I wound up doing my front porch myself, and I had to buy some tools and stuff. And I've never done like handyman stuff. Luckily, apparently I'm gifted at it for one. And one of my neighbors that lives like 4 houses down, he's a retired contractor, and he was a contractor for like 40 years. But he started off doing, small homes, then did bigger buildings, and then later, as he was getting ready to retire, he, went back into doing, homes again. So anytime I had a question, I could go down there to Mr. Randy and be like, hey, Mr. Randy, I'm trying to work on that porch. Can you take a look at this for me? I just feel like I'm not doing something right. Or how do I make the porch, really sturdy, because we like to entertain the whole family. So obviously I don't want, the whole family to be on the front porch and it just concave and, we're falling through the floor. So he come in, he's like, oh yeah, if you dig the post in, get you a auger, go about 2 foot deep. If you want the post to be 6 foot, you need to buy 8 foot, because you're going to go 2 foot deep with the post. You can wrap it in this wrap, which is like this thing that protects it from rotting, because you don't want to do wet soil on wood, or rots over time. So you do like this little protective wrap film that you use to basically protect it from that. Then you put like a little rock bed there, so it's not directly to the soil. Place that on top. Then you do your concrete. Kind of do it about like a half layer. Get that pretty nice and good. Then finish it on up, and you pretty much kind of got a sturdy source. And you do that, and I wound up doing that times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 7 or 8. Like I got 7 or 8 posts there, kind of in like a square. But I was able to do the back half against the house on some of the boarding for the house, like the foundation boarding there too. So I did that, and then I used lag screws to secure it and everything, and got it working good. And then later I wound up doing the front part of my fence, but with the Georgia summer heats and me doing all these other things, I'm just kind of piddling with it, doing it in my spare time. But going back to the contractor, I pretty much got screwed over by almost $6,000. Tried to sue said contractor for that $6,000. Apparently I wasn't the only one suing him, and he took the money and ran and filed bankruptcy on the business. And at that point, because everything was being run through the business, when he filed bankruptcy on the business, shut everything down, basically there's nothing I can do to get my money back with the court system. And, people always, when I tell people about what was going on, they were always like, oh, I would have got my money back one way or another. He would have been spending it on some new tires or, this, that, or the other. I just took a step back, and I was really upset and mad in the beginning. And I was like, you know what? God works everything out. My family's safe and sound. The contractor that did the roof did a good job, did good work, everything. Everybody's safe. We got the leaks fixed, all this stuff that he was going to do that I got screwed over on is, technically cosmetic. I mean, it's ceilings, but the roof is intact now because that contractor did a good job and it's not leaking anymore. I can always just save up our own money like I've done for some of the other stuff when we had to replace like HVACs and ductworks and electrical and stuff like that. I'm like, I can save up the money and just pay cash because I'm not going to go into debt for it because it's cosmetic. And then luckily everything, like I said, it was cosmetic. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stress about it. I dealt with the whole court system thing, tried to sue him. I was losing money through the courts, trying to get my initial money back. And, essentially with everything that went on with him, that went on with the courts and everything else, it was like this 6-month saga of just headache and drama, and I was trying to do other things, and it was like I kept getting pulled into crap with it, and I was like, you know what, it doesn't look like I'm going to get this money, and if I try to retaliate, I could wind up in jail and all these things. You know what? It's just better for my own mental health to just chalk this up as a lesson, like a lesson learned. And he'll get his, I'll get mine. We'll all get God at the end, kind of thing, I guess. Now, obviously, I haven't seen him on the street either, because I can't promise that I will have that same attitude if I see him on the street. But that has not happened. So, nor do I think it's going to happen, because he doesn't live in my same city. And like I said, he basically took the money and ran, and no one really knows where he ran to. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure some of the other people that he screwed over are definitely more colorful people than I am with their personalities, and very much more vengeful than I am. So I feel like, he will be taken care of by people other than myself, to say the least. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to kind of move on. But going back to what I was saying about my house, we bought it for $125, did about $50,000 of renovations. Again, that was back when I was making good money with COVID, and all those renovations we just kind of paid cash, and we were also paying off debts and everything else. So all in, we're in at about $175. If we were to sell our house in today's market, if I was willing to sit on it a little bit, try to get top dollar, I'm guessing like $230, $235. is probably what it would sell for in our area. Maybe 250 would be like top dollar. I don't foresee me getting more than 250. It's not. I mean, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house, but it's a little under 2,000 square feet, and we live in a rural area in South Georgia. Our house prices are not like Atlanta or Jacksonville, Florida, or God knows California or anything like that. I mean, the housing market is nothing compared to those areas. So about 230, 235 would probably be top dollar. 250 would be outstanding if I got it, but I doubt it. And then if I was just trying to do kind of like a quick sale, I could probably advertise it for 230 and do kind of like a quick close at like 215, 210. So in that, I mean, we lived in the property for this, for 4 years. We've been in the property for 4 years, which puts us in the three. So there's a law, or in the tax code, that if you sell your primary residence, and it's been your primary residence for 2 of the past 5 years, as your primary residence, you can actually take the proceeds of said resale. So in our case, like let's say we bought it for $125, we sell it for $225 for easy numbers. So obviously I'm not going to include all the closing costs and stuff like that just for the sake of math. So we're going to say that we made $100,000 net profit after everything's said and done. So that 2 out of 5 years rule that I was talking about would allow us as a married couple, I'll have to look it up again, but I think as a married couple, you can take up to, I want to say, it might be $300,000 or $400,000 of proceeds from the sale of your primary residence, like profit, and you actually don't have to pay taxes on it, which is actually one of the ways that many people get wealthy through real estate in the beginning. Is they will live in kind of like a shabby little house. They'll fix it up while they live there over 2 years. They'll sell that house, make $50,000 profit. Then they'll take the profits they made from that house. They'll get a little bit of a nicer house, fix it up, live in it for 2 years, and then kind of rinse and repeat until they get to a certain level. Because there's no, as far as I know, there's no end on how many times you can do that. I'm pretty sure there's some, there's like a grace period. Like, obviously you got to stay in the house for 2 years before you sell out of the 5. So, but with that, if we were to make $100K profit off of the sale of our house, I know we wouldn't have to pay any taxes on it because of that law, that tax law. So that would, in that scenario, that's $100K in our pocket. We ain't got to pay taxes on, which is great. So with that $100K, in that scenario, that would pay off my car, my wife's car, student loans. Like, we could essentially kind of just wipe out everything and maybe even have a little bit left over. So then when we decide to go to XYZ place, we wouldn't have any debts. I would have a master's in family nurse practitioner. So whatever salary I'm making is just purely not going to any debts. It's income in our household, which is, in today's time, a very, very great place to be. Especially considering me and my wife, we come from nothing. So, I mean, we're very basic, and we don't really spend money a lot like that, except for on the kids and experiences. We're not very materialistic people. Much more, we like to travel and go to places to experience it. So that's, if we were to waste money, it'd be on something like that. But with that being said, we're in kind of a good situation in that regard as far as like real estate. I want to do more with real estate. However, I'm very kind of like anti-debt, because admittedly when I started the travel nursing, it was because we were in $200,000 of debt, kind of total almost, and now we're down to the last 40,000-50,000 here, and I can kind of see the end in sight of getting out of debt, and it excites me. I'm like, heck yeah, debt free, making this money, ain't got no debts, cars paid, student loans paid, no credit card debts, no nothing. Like, I'm like, dang, this is it's like an experience of just being able to breathe, of no debt, that I have not had in forever. I mean, I don't even know what it's going to feel like. I really don't, but just thinking about it, I'm like, just thinking about it, I'm like, this feels good, just thinking about it. So, can't wait to get to that point. So for me to get to that point and then, try to, buy real estate, like buy rental properties on like a mortgage. It just doesn't. I mean, I'll probably have my own personal mortgage. I don't really count that as a debt per se, because if you rent versus a mortgage, obviously if you're gonna the rule of thumb on that from anybody is, if you're gonna live in an area for more than 3 years, it's probably a good idea to buy. If you don't know if you're going to be in a location for more than 3 years because you travel a lot with your job, it is generally better to rent. That way you can pick up and move. You don't have to like try to resell your house, or God knows, if you try to move and your house is on the market back where you used to live, now all of a sudden you're having to pay 2 mortgages, because you're paying a mortgage in a house you're not living in, plus you're having to pay rent at your new place. So if you're in a scenario where you move around a lot, or you're not sure you're going to set roots there, I do not recommend buying. I tell clients this all the time. Even though I'm a realtor, I try to do what's right by people, and also I don't live on my realtor commissions at all. Like I just try to not be in the red when it comes to realtor commissions, as far as like what all I pay out and all the other stuff that I do, and I try to use that money to pay for like family vacations and stuff, or put it as a nest egg. So for me, I'm not living on the realtor commissions to pay my bills, so I don't feel pressured into pressuring people into situations they don't need. Not saying that other realtors do this, but I don't have that pressure to have to do that, is what I'm saying. Not trying to throw shade at anyone who is a full-time realtor, because I know many full-time realtors that are amazing people. I work with some of them, but admittedly, I do know some scumbag realtors. So I'm not going to throw any names out there just because I don't like talking bad about people. I generally feel if I have a problem with you, I will say it to your face, and I will let you know. I'm not going to talk behind your back about you. That's just not something I like to do. Admittedly, that standpoint has gotten me in a few pickles here and there, but for the most part, that's a principle I live by, and I don't regret it, because if someone isn't doing right and I don't like the behavior, and I'm forced to be in there to be around it or something, or I see something that, might need just like, hey, like, obviously I'm not trying to be an a-hole or anything like that when I try to say stuff, but at the same time I'm like, hey, man, like, are you sure that's really the right thing for that person? Like, maybe they need to do this thing over here. Like, maybe that might be a better fit for them. Just kind of like that. Not trying to be like, oh, man, you're a scam artist. You're a crook. I don't even know how you get customers, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm not in that ballpark. One of the business people I watch is Alex Hormozy. I love watching his stuff. He puts out content like crazy, and just worth so much money in that field or in that area of business. And I love a lot of the stuff he puts out because it's so insightful, and a lot of times it feels like basic things sometimes. For instance, like, he talks about drama and problems, and he said the easiest way to solve a problem is to just say, does the problem even really exist? Or is this problem even really a problem? And when I heard that, I was like, that's interesting, and he gave some examples and stuff like that. So I really kind of changed my approach to some of these things about trying to, like, expecting other people to do the right thing, or maybe somebody did something that I didn't like, or things like that. I'm like, take a step back in my mind, like, is this really a problem? Like, is this really affecting me or affecting people that I love, or like, is this really my fight, so to speak, is another way you can word it. And, a lot of times I'm like, well, you know what? It's not really that big of a problem. I'm not going to die on this hill, as they say. Again, that kind of goes back to that contractor that I was talking about. Obviously, that did affect me, but I'm like, is this really a problem that I'm going to keep going after, or is this something I'm just going to go, hey, this happened, what can I learn from it? Oh, well, you know what I learned from it? I'm not doing money up front with contractors anymore, for one, and I'm not doing any contract work without a clear written scope of practice with deadlines. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I'll probably, like, obviously if it's a bigger job and the guy's done, like, let's say it's a $10,000 job and the guy's done 20% of the work, I might be like, okay. And he's like, hey, obviously you've seen me and my guys have been here all week. We're really working, we're getting through. Can I get, a portion of the money to pay my guys for the work they've done so far? That way I can keep the crew running, stuff like that. Be like, okay. In that scenario, I would want there to be pit stops if that's the way we're going to kind of do things. Like, for instance, a way I could have redone that contract with that guy is, like, oh, the whole job is $10,000. Like, I will pay you and your company $1,000 when all the ceilings are scraped. I'll give you another $1,000 when the ceilings are remudded, painted, and ready to go. That's $2,000 there. I will pay you another $2,000 when the fence is up, and I'll pay you the last $1,000 when the fence is completely stained and painted. So then there's the total of the two, and then another $3, so there's $5, and then it's like, okay, and then once you've done this porch, there's another 2 once it's completed. There's 7. That area of vinyl siding there, once that's replaced, there's another 1,000 there. There's 8. Once the roof on the shed is replaced, there's another 9. I can't remember what else there was. We'll just say once you fix this little garden bed, which I'm just throwing something out there now because there wasn't nothing else. That was kind of all the work that he was going to be doing for 10 grand. But once you finish this little garden bed over here, or you know what, I'll change that up and make it more realistic. Once you replace the gutters all around the house, there's the last 1,000. So now, instead of there just being a $10,000 quote for this work, there's all these mini quotes inside of the $10,000 quote. So I'm like, hey, if you want that money, that job needs to be completed, and then once it's completed, I'll pay you, but that's it. So that'll probably be the way I move going forward. I'm not paying people up front. I mean, if contractors don't like it, oh well, I'll just go to the next one. As simple as that. Or even if they're afraid that I'm going to screw them, I'll be like, okay, how about this? We'll put it in a trust. Like, we'll put the money in a trust at the bank. That way, the money's there. And once we have hit certain landmarks, you can pull it directly from the trust when I sign off. That way, you're not worried about me screwing you over. And the bank trustee or whoever is over the trust will have the money and the contract to mark, okay, this was done, here's your 1,000, hey, okay, this is done. That would probably, I imagine, cost you like an extra $500 or something like that to set up. I'm not sure, but it might be money well spent. I'd much rather spend an extra $500 than lose $5 grand like I did in the situation that I'm in. But yeah, I mean, that's that. So, I mean, if we sold our house, we'd make profit. Go up to Warner Robins, Macon area. I've already had, even though I haven't even finished my nurse practitioner, just with the position I'm in currently, I've been offered a couple of jobs when I do complete it. I don't want to say no names or no numbers, just in case, others hear those numbers and they're like, wait a minute, I'm not making that. Or, also they might hear these numbers and try to steal my job. So there's one of them that I'm looking at more than the others. But I'm a very big person on options. So I'm keeping my options open and keeping my ears and eyes open as well for more opportunities as I finish this last year of the nurse practitioner. I mean, a lot can change in a year. The job that I really am kind of chomping at the bits at, might not be available in a year from now, or there might be even a better opportunity that arises in that time frame. Who knows? I do not, for sure. But with all that being said, it's been about a good 35 minutes on this drive. I'm gonna switch it over to some music, stop talking, head on into the house, and get home, pass out, do some wake up in the morning. I'll be home, so I'll probably wake up kind of early with the wife, try to take the kids to school. I love being in dad mode. I know when I was younger and I had my first 2, I was not the man I am now. Like, I was young and dumb back then, as they say. But now I embrace it. I love the dad mode. Just thinking about it just tickles my fancy, as they say. I love all the things, with the kids, and just love it all. The family life. I mean, I don't see how people don't love it. You know what I mean? Maybe they got I almost cussed there. Maybe they got a bad spouse. I was going to use a different B word there. Or, and I think that's the biggest thing that gets people is pick your partner wisely. And if you're going to get married for the right reasons. If you don't feel like, if you're getting pressured by other people, or you get married because you got a baby on the way and that's the only reason, or your parents are pushing you to get married, or everyone's like, oh, y'all look so cute together, why ain't you married and got kids, and just give them a big F you. Like, it's your life, go at your own pace, do what you want to do, but be respectful of others when you do what you want to do. Just because you're doing what you want to do doesn't mean you have to be an a-hole to people, or screw people over to get what you want in life. But yeah, kind of to steal. I'm gonna kind of steal Seth Feroci's quote here, because I love the way I love Seth Feroci. I say it time and time again. I mean, he's the dad I never had on some of his videos. I love his truck rants. Admittedly, these drive videos that I'm posting, that's where I got it from, is watching his truck rants and chicken and rice and all that stuff. I love the raw content without all the fancy editing and everything. I love that. How kind of like Sam Sulek, his stuff. I'm not a huge Sam Sulek fan. I watch a few of his things here and there because it is entertaining and it is like a ASMR for some people. Not so much me, but I do appreciate his content and what he's done, and the fan base he's built off of it is amazing. But I don't really get this from him. I got it more so from Seth Feroci, and I love his content. He does cuss. I'm trying to be a little more PG rated, considering I am in healthcare. I'm supposed to be finishing off a family nurse practitioner, but I did grow up in the South as a certified man in the boondocks, redneck, hillbilly, white trash kind of background, whichever adjective you want to use there, or pronoun you want to use there. I did grow up in that environment, so I definitely do have that in my repertoire still deep down somewhere, and every once in a while I might slip out. But to steal from Seth Feroci, I probably won't quote him exactly, because I can never quote anybody exactly, I feel like. But have a good day, good night at this point. Get home, hug the kids, wife, slap the old lady on the ass, tell her you love her. If anyone's ever seen my wife, I'll just say, you know why she's the one, why I married her. She's gonna hate that one. She's very shy about it, but I love her. She knows she's one of those wives that has to kind of tuck her cheeks in a little bit when I walk by, because she knows what's coming probably. But it's all in love. I love my wife. I love my kids. I love the dad mode. I'm in that stage of life where I'm just trying to love life and do what I love, and spend time with quality people that I love. And at this moment in life, I guess I'm getting kind of 32, but I kind of have that old man mentality sometimes where I'm like, that's what's important in life. And I didn't realize that when I was younger and I was chasing tail, as they say. and doing stupid crap because I was young and dumb. But I'm realizing it now in my at around 31, 32. I started realizing it last year, and the more I dive into it and embrace it, the more I love it. But y'all have a good night.